Hi, this is English 9A Credit 3. The theme of this packet is Sweet Sorrow. So if you've done the previous packets, you know that each packet has a theme. This one we're actually going to be reading Romeo and Juliet, so that theme of will connect to Romeo and Juliet. Okay. So first, make sure you write your name at the top. This is going to be the credit opener. So we're going to read the graphic below that outlines the main plot of Romeo and Juliet and answer the questions that follow. So if you've never read Romeo and Juliet, this will be an idea of what happens in the story before we go into more detail when we read it later on. So here's how the lovers go down. 1, there's a duel. The Montagues and the Capulets have a duel. At the end, Verona's prince says the next to fight will die. 2, masquerade ball. Romeo wants to crash the Capulet dance to get Rosaline but meets someone else. The third thing is marriage. Romeo falls for Juliet and they arrange a secret wedding. 4, there's a fight. Tybalt and Mercutio fight it out. Romeo gets in the middle and kills Tybalt. 5, there's sadness. Juliet is sad that Romeo has killed her cousin to make her happy. Dad says she should get with Paris. 6 is a sleeping potion. To avoid marrying Paris, Juliet takes a sleeping potion so everyone will think she's dead. And 7, death and more death. Romeo finds Juliet, thinking she's dead, kills himself. Juliet then wakes to find Romeo's dead body and does the same. So what might the phrase sweet sorrow mean? How can something be sweet yet sad? Consider the images above as you respond. And so this is a bigger picture of what happens in the story. We're only going to read a portion of it, but if you're looking at that sweet sorrow, how do you think that Romeo and Juliet connect to sweet sorrow? So you're actually going to put this in your own words, use a complete sentence. Okay, and then once you're done with that, you can move on. So did you know each of the following films was inspired directly by Romeo and Juliet? So you have the first one is Romeo and Juliet, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. The third one is West Side Story, and the fourth one is Romeo Must Die. Considering your knowledge of Romeo and Juliet, what is it about the plot, characters, and or theme that makes it a story which is constantly retold? So if you don't know much about Romeo and Juliet, you kind of have an idea now after the last page, but Romeo and Juliet are constantly retold because of the tragic love story, okay, and the way that it ends, and they're battling what they think is impossible, but it ends in death. So go ahead and put that idea into your own words right there. You can start it off like Romeo and Juliet are constantly retold because, and then you could finish that off. So again, you could talk about the tragedy, you could talk about the impossible obstacles they have to face in order to be together. Okay, so once you're done with that, you can move on. Throughout this credit, you will come across some key vocab terms that will be in bold text. So this is your glossary terms. If you are unsure of what a word means, you can come back to this page. You will need to know the meaning of these words to master the skills in this credit. So it's really important that you use this page as a resource, especially in your mastery check portion of this credit. You will need to know what these words mean in order to pass that, and you can come back to it later on. And then for this portion, this is a preview of your performance task. So at the end of every packet, you have a project either an essay, PowerPoint, letter. Every packet is different, and it connects to the theme. So the prompt is, in Romeo and Juliet, the title character falls in love and have many obstacles to overcome, ultimately leading to their tragic deaths. The deaths unite the feuding families, however, making the ending both sweet and sorrowful. For your performance task, write a personal narrative in which you tell a story which happened to you or someone you know relating to the topic of love and sweet sorrow. So what you can do, if you're looking at the product over here on the right, you're writing a personal story that connects to one of the following topics: love as a fairy tale or fantasy, love as loss or rejection, love as security, love as a positive and negative force, and love as a roller coaster ride. And so you're going to pick one of these topics and write about it either from your own experience or somebody close to you that you can write about, okay? And then the bottom right there is your anchor text. This is, we're going to be reading Romeo and Juliet. So that's the story that we're going to focus on for this packet.